2 decades, this case haunted detectives. No leads and no closure. Declared impossible to solve, it seemed destined to remain a cold case frozen in time. But what the experts couldn't crack, the internet did. Reddit, home to keyboard detectives, true crime fanatics, and amateur sleuths, turned what seemed like scattered fragments into a puzzle solved by sheer determination. In an extraordinary twist, a 20-year-old mystery was unraveled not in a police precinct, but on message boards filled with strangers united by curiosity and obsession. On June 26, 1995, a horrific crash in Greensville County, Virginia claimed the lives of 2 men. The first was identified as Micheal Hager, 21. The second man, whose face was significantly injured in the crash, couldn't be identified. The unidentified man was wearing a Grateful Dead t-shirt and had 2 ticket stubs for one of the band's concerts in his pocket. He was soon dubbed Grateful Doe, in a reference to John Doe, the name given to people when their identity is unknown. Neither man was wearing a seatbelt, which likely contributed to each of their deaths. Found in the unidentified man's body were 2 scalped Grateful Dead tickets. The Grateful Dead was an American rock band formed in Palo Alto, California in 1965, $1 in quarters, and a yellow Bic lighter. A letter was found, depending on sources either in the unidentified man's pocket or near the crash site, reading, "Jason, sorry we had to go. See you around. Call me 914 XXXX, Caroline T and Caroline O. Bye." The phone number on the letter lacked an area code and never led to any additional clues. The letter also contained a small drawing that some speculate may be of Jerry Garcia. The tickets were dated June 24th, 1995 and June 25th, 1995, respectively. The Grateful Dead performed at the Robert F. Kennedy Memorial Stadium in Washington, D.C. on these dates. Authorities were able to trace the tickets to a Pennsylvania man, but the man turned out to be a ticket reseller and could not recall the details of who he sold them to. Neither of the Carolines have ever been identified. The unidentified man was estimated to be between the ages of 15 and 21 years old. He had brown eyes with long curly brown or dark blonde hair that had been dyed a reddish color. There was a tattoo of a star on his upper left arm and another possible tattoo, which was faded, on his right arm, both of which appeared to have been amateurishly executed. He was wearing a beaded necklace and his left ear had been pierced, but he was not wearing an earring. There was a scar found on his back. He was a Caucasian, had no apparent dental work as his 3rd molars were visible, and his teeth were fairly well cared for. At the time of the accident, he was wearing a red, tie-dyed Grateful Dead t-shirt, Levi's jeans, white socks, and black Fila running shoes. The vehicle's driver was identified as Micheal E. Hager, 21 years old, who may have picked John Doe up as a hitchhiker. Neither of the decedents had drugs or alcohol in their bodies, and there was no discernible external cause for the crash, so authorities hypothesized that Hager could have fallen asleep at the wheel. It has been suggested that Hager may have agreed to transport Callahan because of their similar styles of dress, as they both appeared to be fans of the Grateful Dead. Authorities attempted to identify Callahan through fingerprint analysis with the aid of national databases, but were unsuccessful. When interviewed, Hager's family could not identify the unknown passenger, who had been reported to have been riding in Hager's Volkswagen Vanagon when he stopped to give his father a letter in Williamsburg, Virginia. However, a detective from the area stated that this claim was not accurate and that Hager was alone when he stopped to visit his father. It is speculated that the unidentified man had actually been picked up between Fairfax and Gloucester, Virginia. Due to the severity of the lacerations on the unidentified man's face, mortuary photographs were not released to the public, although a facial reconstruction was later released. In 2012, another facial reconstruction was created by the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. At least 221 missing people were ruled out as possible identities of the victim. 3 years later, in 2015, the unidentified man was said to be identified as Jason Callahan. The identification came after an Imgur and Reddit user posted images of Grateful Doe's facial reconstruction on both sites. The post included information about the ticket stubs, as well as a letter addressed to Jason found at the wreck, and information on the man's pentagram tattoo. CNET reports. A former roommate of Callahan saw the post and recognized Grateful Doe. He was called Grateful Doe because he was wearing a Grateful Dead t-shirt and had 2 ticket stubs for one of the band's concerts in his pocket. After viewing this post, a wonderful user messaged me and stated that he believed he knew the young man in the photo. He told me that his name was Jason. The letter found in the vicinity of the accident was addressed to a Jason. He was about 17 to 18 years of age in 1994 to 1995. The user went on to tell me that he had lived with Jason and a few other friends in Illinois in late 1994 to early 1995, the Imgur user Grey Metal wrote. Shortly afterwards, Callahan's mother posted on a Grateful Doe Facebook page that she believed the man was her son. Police used DNA from Callahan's sister to confirm his identity. Callahan, who was identified as the young man in the photographs, is described as having been a white male with wavy blonde hair and brown eyes, standing between 5 feet 10 inches and 6 feet tall, and weighing about 160 pounds, 70 kilograms. Callahan, if he was alive, would have been 38 at the time. Callahan was not reported missing by his mother until 2015. Lieutenant Joey Crosby, spokesman for Myrtle Beach Police, stated that Callahan's mother failed to file a report with police due to the nomadic nature of Grateful Dead fans. She attempted to report it when he went missing, but didn't know which jurisdiction to report it to, he said. Callahan's family also stated that they presumed he had gone to live on his own elsewhere. After initial tests proved inconclusive, additional DNA testing confirmed that the body was indeed that of Jason Callahan. Mr. Callan's half-sister, Shannon Mickelson, told Fox News she was both relieved and sad that the circumstances around her brother's disappearance had been brought to light. "I'm glad it was solved, but I'm also incredibly sad because I wanted so badly to reconnect with him," she said. This true crime in 4K, please like, share and subscribe.